Hello, good afternoon. How are you all? We're very happy to have you here at our webinar for the Global Mastering Global Supply Chain Management. Welcome. Let me first start by introducing myself. I am Eline Rotier. I am Program Manager within the Full-Time Master Department, and I'm here with two of my colleagues, Lore, who you will see afterwards, and Professor Dr. Tom van Woensel, who is Academic Director of the Master in Global Supply Chain Management. We are very happy to have you here. And let me first start by giving you some insight in what we're going to do during this presentation. I will first give a short introduction about our school, Antwerp Management School. Who are we? What do we do? And then I will give the floor to Tom, who will give you more detailed information about the Master in Global Supply Chain Management. We will finish off with some practical information on how to apply. And then we will have some time for Q&A. But of course, if you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to interrupt us and to ask anything. Of course, we will tackle them in the end, but don't hesitate to ask anything. So first of all, Antwerp Management School, who are we? We are an international business school located in the heart of Antwerp, a city in Belgium. The most important facts about our school is that we are accredited by the AACSB, which actually means that your diploma is worth something worldwide. And we are also ranked by the Financial Times, meaning we are number 30 worldwide and number 1 in Belgium for the Master in Management. But enough about the recognitions. What is more important are our students, of course. We have right now 200 full-time master students. And 50% comes from all over the world. So we actually say that we are the world in one school, which is almost actually true because we currently have 33 nationalities studying with us. So if you decide to join us, it will be a very international experience, definitely. Some practical information about what we offer. We have a total of 9 full-time master programs. 7 of them are in English and 2 of them are in Dutch. We're just waiting for the presentation to load a bit, which might take a little bit more time. Perfect. Of course, today we will focus on the Master in Global Supply Chain Management, which is popping up right here. Yeah. There. But of course, if you have any other questions about another program, don't hesitate to contact us afterwards. I can give you a lot of information about our school, about how great it is to study here, but of course, the best source are our students themselves. So if you really want to know how they experience AMS Live, you can visit their student blog. You can take a look at our YouTube channel, and you should definitely follow us on Instagram for some fun and behind-the-scene information about our school. So we wanted to actually show you a video with a small testimonial on how it is to be a student at AMS, but it wasn't possible by this platform. So I would strongly recommend you to all take a look online, because there you really get a good idea and a good feeling of who we are as a school, of the international vibe, of the close contact that we have with the students, and of how they experience all of this. So that was it for my part. I'm happy to give the floor to Tom, who will give you more information about the Master of Global Supply Chain Management.
Okay, also good afternoon from my side. So what I want to do in the coming 10-15 minutes is give you a little bit of an overview of what we do in the Master of Global Supply Chain Management. Obviously, this is a master in supply chain management, so it means that it is a specialized master. It means that we will focus on all supply chain relevant topics, and we will not do many other things beyond supply chain, of course. But that's, as you can see in the title of the program, is clear that it should be supply chain and logistics. So just to give you a little bit of an insight about how do we look into the supply chains. So typically, we organize our supply chain from a sort of on the left-hand side where we see the raw material, and on the right-hand side where we see customers. And we want to somehow create a supply chain. We want to connect all these kind of flows to each other such that we can deliver value to these consumers or customers at the end of the supply chain. Now, of course, in this picture, which is one possible configuration of how we can depict supply chains, you see that there are flows in there, meaning that we flow material, and flowing material, moving material is a sort of a transportation activity where you see that we might be using multimodal, we might be using planes, barge, truck, cars, whatever. And of course, there is also some warehousing being done in this kind of network, which is these distribution centers or at these production sites where we also might be potentially doing cross-docking. And we have all this kind of, in all these warehouses, we manage inventory. So it also means that we have to carry inventory somehow. So if you then start looking at this complete process, you see that we already have a few kind of functional areas which are very relevant once we start looking at supply chains. For example, procurement, where do we buy inventory, how much inventory do we position, and where? Production, how do we produce? Is it a lean manufacturing or is it a mass manufacturing another way? All these kind of variations there. Transportation, distribution, how do networks look like? How does my supply chain look like? Why do I organize one warehouse in Europe and not another one in the US? So these are all very relevant questions which are related in a sense to what we would call the physical flow. So the product flow of items, of partial products or semi-finished products which are being moving in the supply chain. Obviously, we also have a layer higher or below, whatever you want to, wherever you want to put it, which is related to IT, ICT. So it's about information flows, which is also important. We need to govern not only the physical flow, but also the information flow. And the third one is that we also have to manage money flow. So we're also talking about euro, dollars, which are moving in the supply chain, leading to areas like supply chain finance. So where we actually look at the interface between financial management and supply chain management. So in a sense, it's product flow, it's material flow, it is the information flow, and it is money flow. And all these kind of aspects, you will see that they will be coming back into the supply chain management program, because these are all courses which we actually are offering into the program. So if you hear me talk about it in this way, it is clear that we are going to work on supply chains. It's going to be an in-depth program focusing on supply chains. We want to train people who have little or a bit experience in logistics and supply chain, and we want to bring them to the next level as being very good professionals in supply chain management and how to do that. Now, clearly, this is not done only via just teaching. It's also by connecting companies into the program. So we have a high involvement of many companies who actually are willing to show us their world. So we go and visit companies. We look into their kitchen, their internal kitchen, and try to understand what that means. So that in the sense you can immediately see what you learn is actually seen in practice as well. Additionally, of course, very good. A number of people who are teaching in the program are very good from an academic perspective, scientific perspective, but they are also active in the play field of supply chain management. So they're active in companies working on these very, very relevant topics, which we try to also bring into class. So the graduates so far, you see, it's a group, and this is the graph of how many students we are right now. So we are usually the last 3 years, we were always around 40 students, which is very international, because of these 40, around 20 to 25 different nationalities are in the classroom. So it's a very good, nice mix, and they're all, or almost all, are very recent university graduates who actually are thinking about a career in global supply chain management or logistics. Obviously, just to make sure, if you want to go for a marketing career, then there is probably there are many other programs which might be better suited, because at the end of the ride you will know everything about supply chain, logistics, procurement, inventory, but we will only briefly touch upon other aspects like marketing, for example. Now, The master itself is our master in supply chain is highly ranked, and you can look at the ranking yourself. It's on number 11, which is a very good, which is actually very good in terms of ranking worldwide. Now we also will do, of course, there is an international aspect in there beyond the number of people from different nationalities in the class. We also do international visits, so we also go 3-4 days out. We will move. In this last year we went to Vienna. This year we will do that again, and there we will visit some other kind of companies in an other country setting to see how that goes. And these are 2 pictures from our visit to the Austrian Post, where we visited both the postal services and the package parcel services on how they actually were operating within this international context or other context. But of course, we also visited Henkel and other production companies and so on. So also, we went to the gearboxes factory of Opel in Vienna. So there you will see a whole variety of different kind of companies which we will be visiting then. Now, the program itself is built up around a number of blocks, if you want. So the first block is the basics of supply chain management. This is the first week where we are sitting together, and then we will be spending 1 full week trying to get you a complete brainwash back into school, back into the management school, back to work, back to having a very fast forward into what are all these decision problems in supply chain about. And we will just throw a lot of concepts, a lot of information to you, and all those kind of things which we do together are leading to the basics which you need to actually go into the other blocks, the 4 focused course blocks, as I write it over there, which give you more details. They go into in depth into all these various aspects. Now we have 4 blocks which are of course relevant. So it's and I will detail them out a little bit more in the next slide. So the first one is methodologies. It's in a sense filling up your toolbox, putting all the managerial tools and skills you need for supply chain management for a supply chain manager to be successful. That's what we train you over there. Then we talk about activities, and these activities are almost one-on-one to what I talked about earlier: production, inventory, warehousing, distribution, and so on. Then the global supply chain experience is also related to internationalization. Cultural aspects is related to how do we act as people in a supply chain. How is it to do business in an EU context? How is it to do business in an Asian context? So all these kind of aspects are also there. And then last but not least, we do, of course, a master project where the international visit is also up to a certain point part of this integration. But the master project is done 6 to 8 weeks full-time in a company, with a company, on a real business project, on a real research question, driven by a business context, so that you can actually learn and in this environment work with professionals from practice on a very specific research question or project question, consulting type of project in the company setting. And this is very important because there you can actually, whatever you learned in the course blocks, in the different courses, is where this kind of knowledge gets integrated and where you can apply this into a specific context, business context then. So just to walk you through a little bit, and I'm going to go relatively fast because all this information is also available online and in the flyers. But if you look at these methodologies, tools, skills, what we do there is, of course, managerial decision making, and this is a bit more related to more mathematical, quantitative type of techniques which you need to understand and to support your learning in other courses as well. This is not high-level mathematics in the sense that you need to be doing a lot of mathematics before. This is a reasonable level of mathematics which you should be able to actually, with some sufficient background, you should be able to do that. Then we have the leadership development track, which is an important one because it relates back to you as a person. So the school is not only teaching you supply chain, but it also is working on, of course, your skills and attitudes. And this is about who am I as a person, how do I operate in group, how do I write my CV, if I do an application, what does that mean, if I do an interview, how do I act in this interview. So this is about how do you as a person develop towards getting a full-fledged professional, which is after a year training, learning in the school, that he's ready for the job market. Strategic management, of course, important. People management is how do we manage people. So this is the HR context. So again, the people context, which is also an important skill, which we have to, which all our students, we want all the students to be at least have a good understanding about and are aware of the complexity in this kind of in this context. Now, supply chain activities. If you look at all these blocks, you'll see that everything we talked about is in here. So we talk about procurement, we talk about distribution, we talk about supply chains, we talk about operational excellence, which is related to this production, lean manufacturing, Six Sigma. We talk about models, we talk about implementation issues, about network. So all these different aspects are there. You also see a block on supply chain finance, which is actually related to this to the money flow discussion. And you also see a block on integrated business processes with SAP ERP. So this is an SAP training, which is an online class which everybody can do. And this online class gives you a certificate that you actually passed the standard training for SAP. But on top of that, we also offer the possibility to do the one-time, to also go one time to do the SAP exam, the certification exam itself, so that on top of having a diploma from the AMS in global supply chain, you also get a certificate, SAP certificate, which is actually also very valuable once you go into this business context. So this is organized by an online class, and all the other courses are organized here at the school, at the premises of the school, together with the companies, as I already explained already. So the global supply chain experience is a combination, of course, of this of the trip, the international trip, and also the Fresh Connection game. This is an online game where we all work together as teams, and that we are trying to play different roles, like I'm the marketing guy, I'm the production guy, I'm the procurement guy or lady, and we try to somehow put everything together and make decisions. And this is a week course where we work in the morning. You have to think about what is the decisions I'm going to take. You load them into the game, and then in the afternoon you get feedback on the decisions, because then we look at the return on investment, and then we say how good was this, or how bad was this, and why is this good or why is this bad, and the complexity of the game increases throughout the week. The cultural aspects, there are 2 courses, and these is an elective where you have to choose one of the 2. So it's either sort of a Asian context, what happens in an Asian context, or the other side is what happens in an EU type of context. So, and of course, if you are more related to a Western context, then it might be good to take the Asian elective. If you are more coming from an Asian Pacific type of context, it might be more interesting to also go into the European kind of course. So this is a sort of a selection mechanism which we want you to do based on your interest and background as well. Now, at the end of the ride, if we are after 1 year working together, we expect you to have a very good basis and an understanding and an in-depth understanding of everything related to supply chain. And as I said, we do this by taking into account working together with many of these companies, which are good companies, but also having very good lecturers in class, and our evaluations are very good. So at least every time we look at all the rankings and evaluations, we are ending up very high up in all these rankings. So this is, of course, let's say the knowledge part. The upper part is more about knowledge. The lower side is about learning in terms of skills, attitudes, and how do I, as a person, grow, and how did I grow up in terms of this organization, meaning from the start of the program up to the end of the program. It will be, of course, we try to help you so that you can also grow as a person and not only know more about supply chains. So this is, as you see, about negotiations, creativity, teamwork, leadership, all these kind of aspects we will be working together on with you to actually try to have you grow more into this role. So there is some practicalities in terms of tuition fees. This tuition fee is there. There will be some more discussion about this as well later on today. It includes everything, meaning if we move out from the school, where the location is the Antwerp Management School in Antwerp, the middle of the Benelux area, where we do all this kind of very nice supply chain and logistics activities. But if we decide we're going to move out of the school, There will be buses taking you. We will be organizing flights into the location and so on. So we start somewhere end of August, early September, and we end normally in end of June with the graduation ceremony. And if you feel like I would like to brush up certain, let's say I want to clean up my knowledge on business research methods like statistics or other courses, we also have some repair courses or refresher courses earlier than the start, so that you can also participate in these kind of courses to get you up to the level which might be needed if you feel like having some shortcomings in either one of these aspects. So I think having said this, this is a bit what I wanted to talk about, and now I will give the floor to the next one to talk about admissions and what it means to apply for this very good program.
So thank you, Tom, for the interesting talk. If you might be interested of joining the Antwerp Management School, I would like to introduce you the application process we have. So first of all, who are we looking for? We're looking for recent graduates or people who are only having 1 or 2 years working experience. The background can be anything. It can be languages, politics, law, and so forth. So the background doesn't matter. If you have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, you can apply for it. We only look for open-minded and ambitious people. So if you feel like you're the one, please apply for us. The application process is a 3-step process. So first of all, you complete the application form online. If you go to our website, antwerpmanagementschool.com, and choose your program, for instance, the Global Supply Chain Management program, you click on the program Apply To, and then you can give your CV, your academic transcripts, your basic information, personal information, and of course a motivational letter, why you want to apply and why you choose Antwerp Management School. We also ask for a TOEFL test if your native language is not English. It's recommended to do that test as well. Once that is good, we will contact you and you will get 2 assessments from us, an online assessment, an online numerical assessment, and a verbal assessment. If that is good, we contact you for an interview, preferably on the campus, so here in Antwerp. If that's not possible, we can also do it through Skype. If all the 3 steps went well, you will hear from us in about 1 or 2 weeks, and then you know if you're admitted or not. It's also important to know that we have an early bird discount. So if you apply before the 31st of January, you can get a reduction of €1,000. So that might be interesting for you. Another thing about the application deadline, if you the deadline is the 1st of June for non-EU citizens and the 15th of August for EU citizens. It's important to say if you're not from Europe, you also need a visa to come to Antwerp. So try to do that before April. So try to do your application before May, April to be sure that everything is done correctly and right and to arrive on time in Antwerp. So that was it. If you have any questions, please ask them now and we can go further with the Q&A session.
Okay, so if there are there any questions which we can answer on the presentations and the complete program or the admission, just shoot. What is the TOEFL score?
Okay, so the TOEFL score is, if you just Google it, TOEFL, TOEFL, you will find a lot of example tests, and it's actually a basic English test to see if your English is well enough to do that program. So it's nothing to worry about if you understand us right now, I think, because it's a very basic English test.
Other questions? week.
Okay.
If there are no more questions, I'm of course looking forward to seeing you all in the supply chain management program. So I think it would be nice to see you. If you have more questions, please contact us directly via email or phone or all the coordinates which are online. And then we are looking forward to hearing from you soon. Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.